within and surrounding Baltimore. Don't ask him about preseason games, oh no. Stuffing things in Griffin Basso. Despite it being on the internet, he can call it what he wants, so Glenn Clark Radio. Glenn Clark Radio. Glenn Clark Radio. Duke sucks.
Appreciate the fans, through everything. We know it's rough right now, and they want to see a good product out there, and we haven't been displaying that. So them leaving early, it's a given. But I'm gonna let them know that we're gonna keep working, and we're gonna turn this thing around. It's hard to believe being at 1-5, still a lot of football left. We appreciate that support every single day. And we know the situation right now. We accept everything, but at the end of the day, we're gonna keep going to work. We're gonna keep having faith on one another, and get this thing turned around. I feel like we still got time. Just believe in us, and we believe in each other. We're gonna get it where we need to go.
Beyond.
Yeah, man, we always.
That is, of course, Ravens running back Derrick Henry, who everything went about right for him yesterday, and the way that things were supposed to go for the Ravens to have a chance, and they did have a chance. It was just not a chance they could take advantage of. They said everything went about right, other than one play. Other than one play for him. Alas. Hi, good morning. It's Glenn Clark Radio. I'm Glenn. He's Griffin. And the Ravens are 1-5. And Don, I'm stunned. I'm stunned. I never saw that coming from you. I have a couple of thoughts. I have a lot of thoughts, frankly, about where the Ravens are. The first is, yeah, they're 1-5. Are we disappointed that, we always say, hey, if you lose your quarterback, you're screwed, but you just want to have a backup quarterback who can give you a puncher's chance, a fighting chance to at least stay afloat. So are we disappointed that Cooper Rush wasn't able to do that for the Baltimore Ravens? Yeah, we're disappointed by that. Should we have expected different? Given the circumstances, probably not. The Ravens were dealing with fundamental issues before Cooper Rush had to play. I don't know if Ronnie Stanley is able to play the full game yesterday, if anything's different, but it didn't help. Like, one of the things we thought was, hey, you're getting Ronnie Stanley back. Maybe that's going to give you a chance. And clearly getting Kyle Hamilton, getting Marlon Humphrey back was at least semi-beneficial. I don't want to oversell that. I think, and this happened during our Project Game Day postgame show, I think the score and some of the statistics are allowing us to overvalue the performance of the defense yesterday. I don't think the defense was quite as good as some of the numbers would suggest it was.
It was the best they had played outside the Browns game. I mean,
if you want to say, right, like they didn't play in the other games and they at least played in this one, yes. But I think that a lot of stuff is being masked there. I think that a chip shot field goal, another field goal that they just insanely passed on, and then 4 more points that were left on the board because Matt Stafford missed 2 wide open receivers in the end zone on their first drive. And suddenly when you say, well, they only gave up 17 points, Well, that feels a lot different if they're giving up the 30 points that they should have given up. We're doing a lot. And you can say, hey, but that's the NFL and stuff happens in every game. Yeah.
Well, it balances out when you have Zay Flowers and Cooper Rush turning it over.
But that has
in your
nothing to do with the
territory.
defense. That has nothing to do with whether or not the defense did their job. I'm saying when we simply judge the defense by only gave up 17 points, we're kind of missing the plot. Technically, they only gave up 17 points. But how much of that was because of what they actually did? Undoubtedly, John Jenkins made an unbelievable football play. And Marlon Humphrey made a nice play to break up what would have been a touchdown to Puka Nacua in the end zone. Like, those two things stand out. But saying they only gave up 17 points, technically, yes. But there is an awful lot of conspiracy from the other side in order for it to only be 17 points. An awful lot. And I worry that perhaps it's not just us that overreacts to it, that, like, that somehow becomes the justification to keep doing the things the way that you're doing them because you can tell it's headed in the right direction. I disagree. Me, Glenn Clark, do not agree. In fact, I would argue the edge rush, the players were actually worse yesterday. It's not getting better. So even that bit, the like, hey, but, you know, they made some strides, or maybe John Harbaugh's right, and, like, they are getting. I hope they do get better. But I don't think yesterday was an example of that. I just think the circumstances allowed it to look like it was better than that. But nothing about the actual play said to me, I think Trenton Simpson was a little bit better yesterday than he's been. And that's a tough thing to say because he also, you know, got his ass kicked in coverage. But if you're looking for a positive, I guess I would label that as a positive. Yeah, Cole Jackson points out.
I believe those are from PFF. So.
Not one edge rusher had a pressure yesterday. Now, I get it. You can scheme pressure, too. I'm not saying that nothing else counts. Like, you don't say the John Jenkins sack doesn't count because it doesn't come from an edge rusher. I'm not. My point is the actual edge rush group is abominable and continues to be abominable. Untenable. You're not scheming up enough pressure to make up for this. It's disastrous. It doesn't mean I'm opposed to them trying to find pressure in other places. I want to make this is a both things can be true. And yes, it's judged against the fact that, as Griffin's going to show you in a second, on his first series as a Charger.
It was the second series, but yeah.
Was it?
It was the first quarter, yeah. And it was a third down.
Quarter isn't. Were you sure it was the second series? I could have
I
sworn
believe it was the second series. Just two possessions into his debut, I believe.
Right.
Is yeah.
Right. Yes, Adafe Owe recorded his first sack of the season. I get it. Optics are what they are. Be careful on these. What we got dinged? Oh, we got dinged on Lee Greenwood last week.
Well, good credit to him. Good for him.
That grifter.
Good for him.
That grifter.
He needs it.
God bless him. Literally.
Him and the countries, both of them.
Both?
Yeah.
Both America and Canada?
I mean, it could be him, yeah.
Well, Canada right now, they're probably going through it. Eked out that they got that one run last night, didn't they?
They did.
They did get
It
that
looked
one.
good for about I guess the first pitch of the
And then
all downhill.
One hit the rest of the way after that Springer home run. Yeah, look, man. I am not of the belief that this was a step forward for the Baltimore Ravens yesterday. I think it was mostly the same. And that's why I believe that they need to make major changes. And if you listened to John Harbaugh yesterday, you would say they don't intend to do that. He doesn't believe coaching changes are needed. I still cannot believe that this team didn't make significant personnel changes leading into this game. I know the grades have been kind to Andrew Voorhees today. It would be pointed out that there was a lot more zone blocking yesterday than they had done before. So that might negate some of the grades that were kind to Andrew Voorhees. And whatever we think the positives are of the fact that they looked better running the football, the trade-off was every time they had something going, an offensive line penalty killed it. And to be fair, it wasn't just the guards, although Falele got hit with a couple of them. It was also Ronnie Stanley before he left the game. It was also Tyler Linderbaum. Everyone took turns yesterday shooting themselves in the foot. And whatever, again, if you want to believe there were positives for, hey, but at least they proved that they could run the ball again, yes, to some extent, yes. But even then, it still was a major part of their undoing. I can't believe that they were that stubborn as to say, well, we're just going to keep trying it and hope and hope. And the terrifying part, again, is that they think that there was enough positives from the performance of the offensive line that they still don't think major changes are necessary. I can't believe that they didn't.
Well, they're going to point that they ran the ball well for the first time since week 1.
Yes, I know. That's exactly what I'm saying. But they're going to ignore all the other stuff. How the offensive line was literally the undoing of multiple drives. It's disastrous. Major changes need to be made. Look, Lamar Jackson is a Superman. And so even if they aren't, there's no doubt going to be up. The Ravens will be better just because Lamar Jackson will be on the field. Unquestionably. They probably will be able to overcome a number of these things in a number of games because Lamar Jackson is on the field. But it still ain't good enough. Not to do anything that matters. Maybe not to even get back in. Like, I'm almost in a weird place where I think it's like a certainty that the Ravens are going to get back into the playoff picture. Like, I'm genuinely that confident. Just because the schedule is favorable and, frankly, the AFC is mid. Like, the current best team in the AFC is the Indianapolis Colts.
Hey, that's a good team.
Right now it is. But it's not a team that you are fearful of. And the team that's the consensus best team in the AFC, and presuming they beat the Falcons tonight, is the Buffalo Bills. And that's a team you literally had dead to rights on the road just a couple of weeks ago. So the AFC is mid. The Denver Broncos are one of the best teams in the AFC and needed, luck to beat a Jets team that couldn't move the football yesterday.
Well, hey, when you go across the Atlantic Ocean, weird things happen. So
I knew last week to stop believing in the Jets and to put different players in my starting lineup, but goddamn if I didn't put
who'd you start?
Bo Nix and Cortland Sutton right back in. Right back. They
Well,
just did enough in the fourth quarter last week to make me say, that's the moment. It's all turning around. They're playing the Jets. I got to stick it out with them. And sure, I released both Wan'Dale Robinson and Cooper Kupp, who both had great days yesterday. But other than that,
Jeez, dropping Cooper Kupp.
Life's good. Well, I had to drop somebody.
Okay.
Picked up Hassan Haskins. I didn't play him, though.
I started Kamani Vidal. That worked out.
Look at
That one.
was
That one
a-
worked out.
It was a good move. Unfortunately, I started him in one league where I had been Cam Scatterbood and Jackson Darted to death already. So, I know. I think Dallas Goedert was in that. I think it was
Wow,
Dart,
so they scored like
Scatterbood
90 points on Thursday
on
night.
Thursday. I woke up Friday morning with no chance. It's fun. But I did start Kamani Vidal, so I did
There
have
you
that.
go.
I did have that going
Good
for
for the
me,
points
which
for department.
is nice. Look, man, I don't know. I don't really have anything to fight. It's mostly all the same stuff. I think the Ravens need to make changes. I don't think they want to. I think they need to. And I don't think it needs to be a public flogging. I don't think they need to come out and put a bullet in the back of Zach Orr's head. I think they can do it in a different way. I think there's absolutely room this week for John Harbaugh to back up what he said at the podium yesterday. I'm not going to fire any coaches, and yet still make the necessary changes. I don't think it requires him going to the lengths to protect these guys, but if that's what he wants to do, then fine. But I think there needs to be some change. Whatever that is. Whether that's announcing a co-defensive coordinator, whether that's something that shows that we know that the problems are real. Don't hide behind, well, we only gave up 17 points yesterday. Acknowledge your pass rushers aren't doing anything. Anything. And yes, it's worse because Tavius Robinson is going to be out. But it wasn't like he was solving the problem either. And yes, it's probably reminder that you're going to have to look very seriously for outside help, and that's going to have to be a priority during the course of the bye. The ability to find that help and what the cost of it is, I don't know. Again, you almost certainly could have Jalen Phillips for a reasonable price. Reasonable. But don't look now. Jalen Phillips has 1 sack this season. 1.
Well, he's not in Zach Orr's scheme yet.
That's a great point. That'll change everything.
Yeah, he'll go from 1 to
1.
Still 1.
Yes. Like this is the it's like talking to Penn State people in your life who genuinely believe they can just have whatever coach they want to have. Like, well, we're Penn State. So and so says we've got all the money in the world. Like, I don't want to just get Matt Rule. Like, you need to be thankful that you might have a shot for getting Matt Rule. Like, this is the way this works. Like, you think you're going to get Kurt Signetti. And
maybe they will.
Maybe Kurt Signetti isn't he from Pittsburgh? Isn't that the story?
Oh, yeah. He is from Pittsburgh.
Maybe he'll be so desirous of moving back to that area. Is that? That's where
it's
from,
not.
Right? Maybe he'll be so desirous.
But, Penn State's not Pittsburgh.
I know it's not Pittsburgh.
He is
but
from
it's
Pittsburgh.
Closer, right?
Yes.
Like, it's as close as you... At a major job, the closest major job to Pittsburgh is Penn State.
He played at West Virginia.
It's not a major job. It's in the Big 12. The closest... There's 2 conferences that actually matter now. The closest major job is at Penn State. Maybe he will be so desirous of that you can get Kurt Signetti. But that's it. That's the only one. And it's a maybe. Because, again, every school on the planet is going to be trying to get Kurt Signetti this offseason. So you're going to have to be the best of all of them. And, if Texas is available, you're now competing against oil money, right?
Well, they can bring Sark in then.
But this is the thing. When we all say, go get an edge rusher, the most breathless thing to say is, go spend whatever it costs to get Max Crosby. But Max Crosby just genuinely might not be available. Because as much as we say, well, the Raiders aren't doing anything, well, neither are the Ravens, for what it's worth at the moment. But they're like the Ravens in that they want to be good next year too. Even if we don't think they're capable of it, even if there's no path for how they're going to be good next year, they want to be good next year. This is the eternal problem with, in football, you're not rebuilding for 5 years. Teams aren't just trading away players because they don't match up with the timeline. So, I get it. You say, well, Micah Parsons was traded. And first of all, what happened to Micah Parsons exactly? I can't believe him. Are we going to look back and say that Jerry Jones won this trade?
Nah, we won't say that.
I don't think
They only got
so.
one sack of Flacco yesterday. Dropped back like 45 times.
That's unreal.
And they brought him down once.
In that offensive line.
Yeah.
Like, that is unreal. Yeah, sometimes you're just dealing with an athletic specimen that can avoid.
I love how the Browns trade Joe Flacco and they proceed to have Dylan Gabriel throw the ball 60 times.
Like, if you thought Dylan Gabriel was the answer, it's
at least the answer would be having Gabriel throw it 60 times.
I don't know what the thought was there. Anyway, I gotta keep sorry. I think it was our friend Bruce who said recently, you know what I like about your show is when you get lost on a tangent. Like, I could go without that because it's hard sometimes for me to get back. Yes, you're going to have to be active at the trade deadline. And I get it. Like, even our friend Kyle Goon wrote for the Banner recently. You could ask Kyle if he wanted to come on because I did want to talk to him about that. Do we have time that we could call Kyle?
I think so. Maybe should I just call him right now? And
No, just ask him. Just ask him. Because Kyle wrote something for the Banner about how if he were Eric DeCosta, he wouldn't be inclined to make those moves. And I semi-understand what he's saying, and I do think that there's an argument, a broad argument to be made for, isn't this such a disaster that it's not worth throwing any future assets towards it? And from a broad sense, yeah. From the sense of, do you really believe that there's anything that can get this group back to the level of competing to win a Super Bowl? Broadly, it's hard to feel that at the moment. But as I just pointed out, the AFC is so mid that can I say definitively they can't? I can't say that either. I think it's also a more complicated conversation. Maybe based on how much money he's owed, Steve Bisciotti isn't thinking at all about the possibility of firing John Harbaugh. Maybe we all believe that's the answer, but he's kind of laughing about that. Like, I ain't paying this guy $50 million to not coach. So if that's the case, and they're all in it together, and there's conspiracy, and Eric DeCosta knows he's safe, and John Harbaugh knows he's safe, maybe there is some world where they just say, this year ultimately wasn't the year, hold on, use those draft picks, let's give it a different run next year. But should that be the case? Of course not. Of course, the Ravens should be judging John Harbaugh based on what happens this season. And if they're doing that, then they need to give the best chance for that fair judgment. And obviously, they need edge rush help not just this season. If Joe Brady's coaching the Ravens next year, he needs more edge rush.
Is that who you want?
I have no idea who I would want.
All right.
It's just a name that...
James Franklin. He's available.
Yeah, I'm going to probably say no on that one. Whoever the coach of the Ravens is next year would need edge rush help. And maybe could use a right guard. And this is sort of the thing. This is where I think a lot of times our baseball comparison gets lost. Sometimes teams do the proverbial all-in thing to get a piece to try to win that year. The idea that the Ravens are going to pay something extreme for a player, like that they're going to pay multiple first-round picks to get Jalen Phillips, they're not going to do that. They're not going to do that no matter what. They're not going to make reckless trades. They might make trades that don't work out, but they're not going to do it recklessly. They're going to make trades. The Roquan Smith trade is the exact example of the type of trade they're going to make. You can do all of that math in your head. We're going to try to get Roquan Smith. If it works out, we might keep him around, and then maybe it was worth a second-round pick. But if it doesn't work out and he walks, we're banking on the fact that we're going to get at a third-round pick back. Maybe at worst, a fourth-round pick. And so that trade-off will have been worth it to us for what we think, the risk that we are taking, that we're going to get a football player that's going to help us in the short term. That's the type of trade the Baltimore Ravens are going to make. So, yes, they need to be active. They need to, and this is the time to do it. To say you don't have to do it right now. You're not at the trade deadline yet. That's true, but now's your best chance to get someone in and give them a little bit of time to hit the ground running, because you got to start winning like every game that you play. Like you can't stub your toe against the Bears. You do that, I mean, I really am at the point where I think the Ravens are going to be right back in the playoff picture, but you lose the next game with Lamar Jackson back and forget it. It's over, Jack. I still like where the Ravens are, but it's with a very small margin for error. So, yeah, make some coaching changes. Bring in a second set of eyes for the offensive line. Do whatever you feel like you need to do. If you don't want to fire somebody, find some other way to do it. Be active personnel-wise, and be willing to make the changes that for some insane reason you weren't willing to make going into this game. And then everything else, hopefully, starts to fall in line the moment that you get Lamar Jackson back, because he's Lamar Jackson. Is any of it a guarantee? No. But it's there. The path is there. And the AFC is mid. I mean, could not be more uninspiring. I get the Chiefs look like the Chiefs again, but that's a week after they didn't look like the Chiefs against the Jaguars. I don't know what the Chiefs are. I don't know if they're the team that's about to run off a 10-game win streak and remind you who they are, or if they're the team that's just going to be this kind of roller coaster ride for most of the season.
Rashee Rice comes back this week. So
that helps them, there's no doubt. The same way that getting Xavier Worthy certainly helped them. It definitely helps them to have one more offensive weapon. There's no getting around that. I don't really even know how to explain how Jekyll and Hyde they've been. Like I guess that, they were playing without Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice, and so that's not easy, but it's not just that. Maybe the Chiefs are going to be the team that can take advantage of it. Maybe we'll get to this in the end. It'll just be the teams that we always thought it was going to be. If you missed the Project Game Day postgame show,
what's wrong with you?
Spirited yesterday. Ken and I were getting after each other a little bit. You can find it right now, Facebook.com/PressBoxSports, YouTube.com/PressBoxOnline. We do it every game day, so obviously no show this week, but we'll be back the following Sunday against the Bears. PressBoxOnline.com/GameDay is how to watch it live immediately after games end. We're going to keep doing it no matter what. Myself, Rita, KZ, Griffin was back. That was good. Tyus Bowser's been with us all season long. Of all the seasons for Tyus to start doing this. Again, PressBoxOnline.com/GameDay. It's all brought to you by Game Day Men's Health. 1-800-GAMBLER, HelpMyGamblingProblem.org, the Costas Inn and Live Casino and Hotel. We'll grab a break here. A lot to do when we come back in. We are going to get the slaps. We are going to get the picks recap. Chris Bumbaca from USA Today is going to join us to share what he thought. I want to spend some time this morning as well talking about our friend Craig Heist. So all of that is going to happen on the program. That's a promise. It's a Monday edition of Glenn Clark Radio.
Game day hits different with Live Casino's Big Plays, Big Pays hot seats. Head to Sports and Social on select Sundays and Mondays in October. We'll draw 10 hot seat winners every hour. When the home team scores, we'll double the prize pool. Plus, we'll give away $50 Sports and Social gift cards with every touchdown. Watch and win at Live Casino. At Arundel Mills, must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Feeling sluggish, unfocused, or not like yourself? It could be low testosterone. At Game Day Men's Health, we specialize in testosterone replacement therapy to help men boost energy, improve mood, and regain confidence. Our treatments, including testosterone cypionate, are safe, natural, and tailored to fit your lifestyle with weekly injections or pellet therapy. Get started today with a free testosterone test and feel the difference. GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Game Day Men's Health, where men reclaim their game.
The weather's getting cooler, so when you and your family are picking out a place to dine, be it lunch or dinner, let's make it nice and easy. Now, with 2 great locations, the Costas Inn remains your #1 destination. Whether you want to get steamed crabs and the full Costas menu out at the original location at 4100 North Point Boulevard, or sample the complete menu minus the steamed crabs at the new location above the grandstand at the Timonium Racetrack. Costas is your place to go. Check out the website CostasInn.com for a look at the menu, and if you want to plan that crab feast, call 410-477-1975. The Costas Inn.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
Looking for Baltimore's premier waterfront dining experience? Head to Nick's Fish House, located in the Baltimore Peninsula. Enjoy crabs all year long, plus happy hour Monday through Thursday from 3 to 6. Planning a celebration? From rehearsal dinners to corporate crab feasts, Nick's is the spot to make it unforgettable. And the fun doesn't stop there. Live music fills the air every Thursday through Sunday. Check out the full lineup at nicksfishhouse.com. Nick's, it's where Baltimore comes to eat, drink, and play by the water.
Make the most out of every day in your Toyota RAV4. Available in hybrid or gas-only models. A RAV4 can get you where you want to go in style. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new RAV4s from your local Toyota dealer today.
Coming back in here with Glenn and the other guy, Garrett, whatever his name is. You know who they are.
All right, don't forget, the Maryland 5-Star gets underway this Thursday out at Fair Hill in Cecil County. A wonderful weekend, a very pleasant distraction from, get there. Maryland 5-Star with a number 5, maryland5star.us in order to get your tickets. John in Little Rock, not speaking to the media after the game is Bush League. The fans, they at least owe us that accountability. This team and organization is a failure this season. I mean, lots of guys do speak to the media for what it's worth. I'm assuming that you're specifically talking about Zay Flowers yesterday. And look, in my world, I would prefer that Zay Flowers speaks to the media. But as I've said a million times, there is just no correlation between whether you speak to the media and whether you win. I'll give you a great example. You know who's someone who constantly avoided speaking to the media and is one of the greatest winners that we've ever known in this city? Anquan Bolden would constantly not be around when reporters were in the locker room. Constantly. You know what it had nothing to do with? Whether or not he was accountable. Now, I'm not trying to compare Zay Flowers to Anquan Bolden because he ain't Anquan Bolden. Not yet. He's a talented kid. But this is a very difficult, like the pragmatist in me says, I agree. John, I want those guys to be accountable. I do want that. But I also know that nothing they say is actually going to make me feel better. I remember how much Drew raved about Billy Cundiff standing there and taking questions. And I was like, yeah, man, that's neat. But I got to tell you, it didn't change one iota of my feelings about what happened in New England that day. Not one. I appreciate that about him. Like, if somebody asked me, what do you think about Billy Cundiff, the person? Like, Billy Cundiff seemed to be a stand-up guy. But from a football standpoint, it didn't affect anything to me that Billy Cundiff stood. I don't think it had any correlation. And in fact, it didn't change the fact that it was the last time he ever kicked for the Baltimore Ravens. So it's a weird, inherently, I want what you want, but it's like, to me, talking about quarterbacks who get together with their wide receivers in the offseason. Like, yeah, that sounds good, but does it have anything to do with whether or not a team succeeds? No.
Steelers are 4-1.
Oh, that's a great point.
Yeah.
Great point.
Or 5? Yeah, 4-1.
They
yeah,
are 4-1. That's just where I am. Tough conversation to have because it feels like you're giving someone a pass. I'm not giving them a pass. I think Zay Flowers should have said something. I also am a person that believes that mental health is real and the whole thing, and so it further complicates this conversation. If they don't waive Rush today, then they aren't a serious football team. It's embarrassing watching that show. Okay, but Tyler Huntley can't ever play. You can't seriously think that Tyler Huntley can win you a football game either.
You almost did.
No.
Almost did against the Rams 3 years ago, too.
3 years ago, he almost won a game against the Rams. He did not almost win a game yesterday. That didn't occur.
Well, if they'd scored once,
right, but they didn't score once.
Then they would have to score again.
Right, but they didn't even score once. He didn't almost win the game. What we're saying is it was so lethargic that even looking like it had some life was a positive thing.
That was one of the best moments of the year so far. Tyler Huntley stepping in.
If that's true, what you're
going
saying
80
is
yards
this
to
is
get stopped.
The worst year that we've ever seen.
I mean, I think that is what I'm saying, yeah.
Tyler Huntley isn't capable of being an NFL quarterback. He's not. So if you want to say, well, then waive both of them, by all means. But if what you're saying is, choose Huntley over Rush, I mean, this is bare bottom stuff. They want to waive Cooper Rush, waive Cooper. I don't care. I mean, I don't. It's the point. I don't think Cooper Rush has established himself.
If it's to make room for Flacco, yes, do it.
Right, yeah. Or whoever that you think is. If Ryan Tannehill decides today he wants to play in the league again, has been working out, and then go get Ryan Tannehill, because I was confused the last year. That, to me, was the answer. Go get Ryan Tannehill. But short of that.
Apparently the Bengals didn't reach out to him. Is that what
I don't know that anybody's reached it, because I think he's just decided he's retired.
Okay.
I think it's just over.
That's what I don't get. That's what doesn't make any sense. He's like, I can't hand the ball to Derrick Henry? Then, yeah, don't talk to him.
Well, I mean.
So that's why you're saying
it's part
give
of
it a try.
I swear to God. When we had this conversation last year, I remember having it on the old radio station. This, to me, seems like a no-brainer. If you need a backup quarterback, and presumably this guy has a pleasant relationship with Derrick Henry, go get Ryan Tannehill. Because as I keep saying, short of that, to me, everything else is the same. All of these other guys are the same. Every single one of them, they might look different. Like Tyler Huntley can scramble. It's something that a couple people, there's some truthers out there about this. Tyler Huntley isn't as good of a runner as we make him out to be.
Right.
He's a scrambler. And in that way, he's more mobile than Cooper Rush, who isn't even a scrambler. But the trade-off is
he converted that 1 3rd and 7, didn't he?
He can't. I saw it. He can't make NFL-level throws. And the one to the outside, 1,000% should have been intercepted. It just happened to work out. The answer is not Tyler Huntley. It's not. So if there's a better option to be had as a backup quarterback goes, go get that better option. But then, again, just punitively waiving Cooper Rush for the sake of it. Somebody's got to be your backup quarterback. And you are paying the guy $4 million, and if he's the exact same as everybody else, then he's the exact same as everybody else. I just don't think we're going to feel better. The team's not going to get better just because you waived somebody. Somebody has to be your backup quarterback. Somebody has to play.
Nah, they go Wildcat after if Lamar can't
play.
play.
You just let Derrick Henry line up.
Derrick Henry.
The problem is there's nothing they like more than taking Derrick Henry off the field. Quickly, Picks Recap. Picks Recap is brought to you today by Game Day Men's Health in Owings Mills, Frederick, and Columbia. You know, I've been taking peptide proteins. For you, it might be that you're dealing with performance issues in the bedroom. You might legitimately be low T. You might have stubborn belly fat that just won't come off. Get a complimentary testosterone test. Game Day Men's Health in Owings Mills, 443-264-4454. In Columbia, 443-266-3505. Frederick, 240-931-3717. GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Yuck. There's a few that I want back from this week. Yuck, yuck, yuck. And what a week for Andrew Stetka.
I thought I was having a terrible week, and I ended up.
Well, I still thought my week could be salvaged, but a couple of things really went poorly.
Yeah.
Again, the least helpful covers in Maryland history in back-to-back weeks. The absolute worst covers in Maryland history.
God, we could be bowling this week.
Could be. Look, man, John also brought up, are we going to talk about the fact that Maryland has now been outscored 31-0 in the fourth quarter the last two games? Yep, we are going to talk about it. Absolutely, we're going to talk about it. I mean, this wasn't as awful as the previous one. Like, this was a more complete game. It's not like, Nebraska only woke up in the second half. This was a defensive problem for most of the game. And the penalties, which ultimately, like, if Maryland fails to find a way to 7 wins, at least 6 wins, if this comes unglued for Maryland and Mike Loxley is on the chopping block, the thing that's going to be, it's the penalties. The penalties, the penalties, the penalties, the penalties. And look, obviously there was a targeting call that was missed on the third down play before the final play of the game that should have kept that drive alive and would have given Maryland a chance and all of that. But the penalties, that this continues from year to year, good teams, bad teams, whatever it is, the penalties. And I don't think that's because Mike Loxley's a failure as a head coach or he's just okay with the penalties or anything along those lines. But it's still happening. And don't look now, but all of a sudden that trip to UCLA looks really daunting. That game that a couple weeks ago looked like might be now you're mad that you don't have Penn State on the schedule. Now the thing
I know,
that you were
I literally said that
before the
yesterday.
season, you're like, oh man, this is going to work out for Maryland. They don't have to face Penn State.
This is the one year they don't get to play Penn State.
Damn it! Can you trade UCLA for Penn State? Ultimately, Stetka, Griffin, James, Joe, John and Little Rock, Kyle, Paul, and Ryan were all on Maryland. So
Yeah, go Terps.
you got that. Feel good about that. Shameful from Alabama not even trying to cover. Just being okay. This is the difference between being
okay
a good
winning.
team and a great team, obviously.
Just being okay winning a ranked game on the road.
Just being okay with it. Just letting Missouri go down and score to make it a 3-point game and then not even trying to add points after that. Just really shameful all around from Alabama. This is the difference between Saban and DeBoer. Like, they might be good, but they're not great. Only Andrew, Jeremy, and John were on Missouri, and they got it on the hook. One of a few times the hook has bitten me in the ass over the years. 3-point win, 3.5-point line. I did get Indiana. I had that going for me. Not only, obviously, did they cover, but they won outright. Going out to Oregon, getting a statement win.
And now that Indiana team's coming to Maryland in a couple weeks. So
Probably going to win by 50. Myself, KZ, Kyle, Paul, Ryan were all on Indiana for that one. Felt really good about the Seattle pick. Felt good about that. They go to Jacksonville. They win somewhat comfortably. I mean, Jacksonville did threaten a little bit
touchdown,
in the second half, but fairly comfortably. You could just see that letdown spot for Jacksonville from a mile away. Myself, Griffin, Andrew Steck, Paul, and Ryan were on Seattle. Shame on the Browns. Didn't even really try against the Steelers. Continue to allow the Steelers to look better than they actually are. I mean, they don't do anything well. There's nothing that the Steelers do
They win
well.
football games.
That's it.
They throw the
just
ball.
have
Aaron
more
Rodgers
points.
throws the ball to DK Metcalf, probably because they trained in the offseason.
That's probably what it was, yeah. There's nothing about that team that makes you say this is why they're a real threat. They're just 4-1 in a conference or a division specifically where
They got Jalen Ramsey to talk ass on the sideline.
they got that. They've got that. I don't know why I was on Cleveland. I couldn't believe when I looked at it. I was like, why the hell did I pick Cleveland?
I know. I didn't remember that either. I was like, wow.
What the hell?
I'm glad he was.
Jeremy was on Cleveland. Proctor, Kyle, and Paul, we were all on Cleveland and lose that one. This one also infuriates me because I felt good about it. I really did. As that game was going on. And then the Buccaneers lose Emeka Egbuka. I'm like,
Oh, but it's still a point here.
get it back. It's all coming back. All I got to do is get that. And then Detroit takes care of business in the nightcap, and we're good to go, baby. 5-4 week. 49ers fell apart late. They got the ball back a couple times. Still very much.
Well,
a chance
Baker Mayfield was just.
Well, yeah, but at that part I knew was going to happen. And look, the one play, obviously.
The 3rd and 15.
Yeah, in utter insanity.
Or 3rd and 14, whatever.
There is always the question of, like, I have lots of questions about when plays are actually dead and when they aren't. Like, they blow the Derrick Henry play dead yesterday.
Oh, the fumble.
Yeah. But other things that aren't dead, like other plays where you're just going to let a pile keep going for forever. Like, there is a consistency problem in the NFL about when someone's in the grasp and when someone isn't. Like, I saw yesterday, I think it was there was another game where a quarterback was hugged, but not at all down, and they blew it dead. Whereas, like, the Baker Mayfield one, where he's being hugged by two dudes, they keep it alive to allow him
Well,
to
he'll still
wriggle out.
moving his feet, I guess. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't think there's any consistency to this. But look, man, he made the play. I'm not taking anything away from him. Baker Mayfield, the argument for him being MVP right now is strong. Now, it's also, 6 weeks into the season. There's a long way to go on this one. Yeah, he had been stopped. But I get it. Like, I don't know what the rule is. I don't think anybody knows what the rule is. I really don't. I don't think there's any consistency to... And that one, obviously, it happened very quickly. I'm not suggesting this is a horrible call. This is probably the right call. I just think that there's a question.
Yeah, you sound like someone who bet on the 49ers. Yeah.
Oh, there's that too, for sure. I think there's just consistency issues with that in general yesterday. Like the Derrick Henry thing. Why?
Yeah, I don't know why that was going
exactly. Like, why? Like, you're saying that, like, the forward progress was stopped, but I didn't hear a whistle. It's weird. It's
until they saw Jared Verse pick the ball
yeah,
up.
and then
they were like,
forward progress was stopped.
Almost like they sounded like Ravens bettors.
Yeah. Yeah. I said Derrick Henry. It wasn't Derrick Henry. It was Mark Andrews, right? It wasn't.
Oh, yeah. No. Yeah, you're right.
It was
yeah,
tush
yeah,
push.
yeah, you're right. Yeah.
It was a tush push.
Yeah.
It's just a confusing. Everything about that is confusing as to when it was in the Broncos game. There was a play where Justin Fields was still standing, was not like, and they just blew it dead. They just blew it dead. Now, he didn't seem to fight about it much. Like, he probably knew nothing good was happening here. So whatever, go ahead and blow it dead.
Yeah, whatever. I'm gonna be sacked 10 times.
But there was
today.
definitely a play in that game yesterday where, like, he wasn't going down. He was just stood up with a defender on him, and they just blew it dead. It's just a weird. It's one of the. Look, man, that's football in some ways. Some plays are dead, some plays aren't. All of this is a long way of me saying I was on the 49ers, myself and Kyle Ottenheimer, and missed that one.
Oh, I think I have the Fields play.
Do you?
Yeah.
I think it was it Hufanga maybe?
Yeah.
It was? We should probably say that the last one was from CBS. And
NFL Network shout out.
Yeah. He's just standing there. Hufanga.
And he's like, yeah, okay.
Yeah. And, like, maybe it's because he seems to have given himself up a little bit more. Maybe to your point, like, he's more on board with, like, just please call this a sack. Let it be over. I don't know.
Right.
Green Bay, embarrassing failure to cover. Embarrassing.
Not really.
They should
I
be
mean,
ashamed of
it's
themselves.
kind of part of the course when you play a Joe Flacco-led team.
What it is.
Tough to.
They won by 9.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's embarrassing for them. Stecca, Griffin, Paul Ryan, and KZ were all in Cincinnati. Boy, just when we crowned the Lions.
Well, we knew this one was going to happen, though.
Kyle, John, and Little Rock. And the funny thing is, I always pick the Chiefs when it's a small spread. Always. Got drunk on the Lions.
Why did I pick the Lions? I don't know.
Because we all got drunk on what they did to the Bills. We all got drunk on the Lions. We just convinced ourselves they were the best team in football, man. Not the Bills, the Ravens. Said that they did the Bills. I don't know why
I was thinking for a second.
Yeah, right. What did they do?
It's like, did they play the Bills?
And then, of course, thankfully, most of us were on the Rams, but Griffin and Jeremy Kahn, maybe for a minute in the first half, were like,
I mean, no, that was the right side.
It was definitely not.
No, it was. They should have
case.
scored on the goal line. They should have scored at the end.
Big weeks for Andrew Stecca and Ryan Shell.
Rams shouldn't have scored that much.
7-2. Somehow at 3-6, I was not the low man this week. That honor belongs to John Proctor.
He plummets down the table.
2-7
Man.
was met by a 6-3 for Paul Valley, and so now there is a tie at the bottom of the table.
Wow.
By the way, Proctor is having the week from hell. Like he's having
off the field issues.
Off the field issues.
Sorry, John.
I feel terrible for John. It's not like he doesn't like. It's not like there's a. It's
okay.
It's semi cheeky, but only semi cheeky. Like it sucks, man. So combine that with a 2-7 week and now falling into a tie for last place. And with Andrew Stecca's 7-2 week combined with Griffin going 5-4, now a tie atop the table between Stecca and Griffin. So that could be relevant, as always we say. Stecca wants to quit, and the only ways he's allowed to quit are if
I got to hold him off now.
You got to hold him off. Well, somebody's got to hold him off. James is only a game back. He can still get back. Ryan Shell all of a sudden goes. Ryan Shell was damn near the bottom of the table, and now is only 2 games back. Ryan Shell was the guy I didn't want to be picking games the same way as. Now he's 2 games off the pace.
One good week.
Back to 500 for the season.
Wow.
Incredible how that works, right? Dug out of a massive hole. So that's our picks recap after a bad week for your boy who went 3-6, and now I sit tied for 7th with Jeremy Kahn. He and I both 27-33 on the season. We will get to slaps to the helmet here in just a little bit. We continue on a Monday edition of the program. Today's show also brought to you by County Sports Zone, countysports.zone. Proudly sponsored by your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com. Everything you need to know about high school sports, you find it at countysports.zone. Ravens lose again at home to the LA Rams. They fall to 1-5 on the season. Can this be saved with Lamar Jackson returning? Like, can it be fixed? This man was there. He asked that question. He is, of course, NFL writer for USA Today. Chris Bumbaca back with us now here on GCR. Chris, it's Glenn. I'm so sorry that you had to watch that yesterday. Thank you for taking the time for us this morning.
Hey, Glenn. Thanks so much for having me on. Great to be here as always. Yeah, I think the big bummer about being there yesterday was that there was a bunch of good, exciting games in that 1 o'clock window, and I was.
You were watching that.
Yeah, exactly.
You were watching that. Fox sent their top crew. They sent the top crew for that game. Ugh.
Hey, look, when we were all looking at it in July,
yep,
it seemed like a really exciting matchup, right? I remember the last time the Rams played the Ravens there. That was one of my favorite games I covered. Matthew Stafford and Lamar Jackson just dueling. I would say that yesterday was pretty much the opposite of that on both sides. Like the Rams were sleepwalking aside from 5 minutes at the start of the third quarter, and that's all they kind of needed to walk away with a win. But yeah, to answer your question, Glenn, can this be fixed? Right? Can the Ravens
and Chris,
somehow claw out of it? I just don't know.
It's complicated, right? And I know that's what you alluded to in what you wrote. Like it's complicated because, yes, they're going to be better because Lamar Jackson's going to be on the field. Obviously, he's arguably the best player in the entire NFL. Of course they're going to be better because Lamar Jackson's on the field. But that doesn't mean the other problems aren't incredibly real and won't, like, even trying to give a pass to, hey, the defense only gave up 17 points yesterday. Well, yeah, you're right, but their edge rush did nothing. They got a hell of a play from their defensive tackle, and Matt Stafford missed 2 wide-open receivers in the end zone, and they missed a chip shot field goal, and for some insane reason eschewed another chip shot field goal that would have put them up by 3 scores. So we can say they only gave up 17 points, but they probably should have given up 30 points. Like, I can't even say I really think the defense was better yesterday as much as, like, it's been so bad that maybe only being a 1 instead of being a 0, I guess technically is progress.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I don't know if building the entire defense out of safeties is going to work. Maybe it will. I thought Alohi Gilman looked all right yesterday. He was the guy that they picked up last week in the Odafe-Owa trade. But, yeah, defensively, it's crazy how nothing is happening to get after the passer, right? After all the success they had with sacks in the 2023 season, the Mike McDonald, big year for that crew. Like, everybody's eating, right? And now all of a sudden it's like can't even get a crumb for dinner. It's not like they haven't diverted some resources there. Like, they went and drafted Mike Green, who was a first-round talent, but fell into the second because of the legal issues.
Yep.
And, the Ravens are the type of team that say, hey, you know what, we're going to go ahead and take a bet on the talent here because we think it's going to help us, and whatever happens off the field is going to be off the field. But that hasn't worked out so far at all. Obviously not having Roquan there. I remember talking to you before the season. It's like, what if that middle spine of the defense takes a step back?
Yeah.
What happens? Like, because we were looking for areas of concern, and we couldn't even find any.
Remember that? Remember, like, are there any weaknesses at all? Holy
And it's like, actually, and that's like why this league is like so crazy to cover, right? And it's like, because you can sit here and say at the beginning of the season, this is how it's going to go. This team is great. They're on the doorstep. They just need to play for January, yada, yada, yada. And I'm dead wrong. But, like, at the same time, so was everybody else. So.
And yet, Chris, if you ask me today, you've got to bet money one way or the other. Do the Ravens end up in the playoffs or not? I still think I would bet yes. And that's the crazy part about this conversation is because, like, all these things are real, but Lamar Jackson's real. And the part that I can't escape is, to me, the AFC is mid as hell. Like, I just can't escape that part of it. It's not just that the Ravens' schedule doesn't look overwhelming, although, again, if you play like this, it kind of doesn't matter who you play against. You're going to get your ass kicked. But it's that I can't pretend, like, I genuinely believe that Daniel Jones is going to continue to be an MVP caliber player for the entirety of the season, and the Colts are going to run away with things and are going to be unbeatable. They nearly lost at home to the Cardinals. They probably should have lost at home to the Cardinals. I still think the Bills and the Chiefs are ultimately the teams to beat in the AFC, but the Ravens had the Bills dead to rights a couple weeks ago. Like, it's just a weird spot where I'm at, where I do think that there's major problems, and yet I still can't declare them dead.
No, you can't declare them dead because of the division, I think. You mentioned the AFC. I think let's zoom in even more. The division. You have all your games against the Steelers left, or I should say both. It's not like there's a ton. Both your games against the Steelers, both the games against the Bengals, one more left against the Browns. I'm not sold on the Steelers team. Like, I know that the record looks good right now, but, like, I don't think
But what do they actually do well, Chris? Like, what's...
Get the ball out of Aaron Rodgers' hands fast.
Yeah,
that's literally it. That's all they do well. And get they do well with the turnover margin. I think that's another part of it, too.
Yeah.
So if, they're able to get somewhat into striking distance of Pittsburgh, like, I could totally see the AFC North being one of these divisions that comes down to 9-8, 10-7, and we're playing that last Week 18 game in Pittsburgh for the division, right? Like, wouldn't the NFL have that? Lamar Jackson versus Aaron Rodgers going for it all. But, that sounds just so optimistic right now when you're bringing it back to the Ravens, right? Just because of, like, who's going to get him there? Who's Lamar throwing to that's going to get him there? None of those receivers look great. Like, Zay Flowers yesterday, man, like, doesn't matter who your quarterback is. You can't be putting the ball on the ground like that. Like, that's high school stuff.
He is Chris Bumbaca, USA Today NFL writer. He's with us here on GCR. Chris, specifically to whether they can turn it around, I think there's two questions. The first is, can they make a move, multiple moves, to strengthen their defensive front there is an argument. I know my buddy Kyle Goon of the Baltimore Banner wrote that, like, hey, man, this thing is such a mess. Why would you be throwing future draft pick capital towards this team? And it's a fair question. I don't think it's practical. I think that when you have Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry, until it's over, you have to try. Can they do it? Can they fix this at the deadline? Are the players available that can help them fix the defensive part of it?
You know what? I'm going to agree with our buddy Kyle here and say, like, I just wouldn't go there, honestly. Like, and of course, it depends on how the next couple weeks shake out and stuff. And as you mentioned, like, you're never going to really want to consider yourself out of it with Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry on your team. But at the same time, it's like, are they really one piece away? Are they one defensive lineman away from turning this thing around on that side of the ball? I would say no. So I think it's more of like this is what we got, and then maybe they can go and make a couple minor moves. You know, instead of like that one big home run swing, go hit a couple singles, maybe a double, if that's how you want to go about it. Piece this thing together that way without giving up an insane amount of capital or like a high-priced piece of capital, a high-priced asset, if you will, and instead go about it that way. That's how I would do it, honestly.
To be fair, I don't even know if the guys that are the high-priced assets are even available. Like, everybody wants to believe that Max Crosby can be pried away, but every time we've had that conversation, the Raiders haven't been willing to trade him. So, like,
right, and he's on a big new deal now, although, like, you know, I guess teams would be willing to take that on, of course. You got Jeffrey Simmons there in Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
He'd be interesting to get moved around, and honestly, like, the Ravens do have a need there now with Matt Abike
and
out
like
for the year, and
that to me is
longer.
why, like, what you just said is why all this is more interesting to me. Like, I hear the argument for, hey, don't do it, but you're gonna need edge rush next year. You're gonna need. Unfortunately, it looks like. I mean, maybe Justin Madubuike can come back and play football at some point, but it doesn't look great. Like, you're gonna need that type of player next year too. It's sort of why. Like, even if this team can't turn it around, I'm still willing to listen on those conversations because you're going to have Lamar Jackson next year, and you're going to want to win with him next year, and you've got to solve these problems somehow, some way, whether that's the trade deadline, free agency, or the draft. Like, you've got to find these pieces.
Yep, I'm with you there. I think back to the Roquan trade, right?
Yep. 3
years ago. They were fine, you know, the Ravens, but they obviously, you know, needed help, and I think that's a perfect example of a move where, like, Eric DeCosta is thinking long term and not short term.
Yep.
With his decision making.
What about John Harbaugh continues to say he doesn't want to fire any coaches, and I believe that he doesn't want to fire any coaches, but
right,
I can't escape the edge rush part of this with Zach Orr. Like, that. It's not getting better. It's actively getting worse. They didn't get a single pressure from an edge rusher yesterday. They went the first 4 weeks of the season without getting a sack on a blitz call. Like, I can't this feels like gaslighting at some point. It feels like you're trying to get me to believe that I'm stupid. I don't dislike Zach Orr at all, but I'm befuddled by the idea that you just keep saying, well, it might change one of these weeks. I feel like I never like the idea of owners meddling, but it really does feel to me like at some point Steve Bisciotti has to step in and say, John, this is insane. Like, this is not working. You can't just keep trying to make it work because you want it to work.
No, look, I think that's kind of why Chuck Pagano's on the staff, right? Is to, like, be that guy who is the veteran voice for Zach, right? And be like, hey, this is how we're going to get through this. And then if ultimately Zach has to lose his job, then I think Pagano's the guy who kind of steps in there, in my opinion. But so I would say, like, their plans are in place for when and if this has to go down. With Zach Orr, though, like, first of all, John Harbaugh does not want to fire him. Like, that is a John Harbaugh, like, nightmare scenario, in my opinion. We talk so much in this league about statistics, analytics, tape study, right? But at the end of the day, it's all results-based. And for a league that puts so much on the process in those things that I just mentioned, like none of it is working for Zach Orr right now. Like the tape doesn't look good. The analytics don't look good. The stats definitely don't look good. And the results are even worse. So where's your win for Zach Orr? Like I don't have one for you.
Yeah. I mean, it's disastrous, unfortunately. And I hate that because I really like Zach Orr, right? Like, I think everybody in this town really likes Zach Orr. Well, did at least really like Zach Orr. But I also think that this is, like, part of it to me is you have to do this because at some point this turns to you. And I think that's the really difficult part about it. And, yes, it is mitigated by he's got $50 million left on his contract, and I don't know where Steve Bisciotti is. But if this doesn't get fixed, there is no justification for John Harbaugh continuing. Like, this really does feel like this has to be requiem for John Harbaugh over the course of the next half of the season.
No, look, he's one of the league's best coaches for a reason, right? It's because of how he has, like, built this program and how it's just a machine. So what happens when the machine is in system failure, right?
Yeah.
Like, what's your backup there? How does the leader get them out of this hole now? Like, this is going to be one of Harbaugh's toughest challenges, if not the number one. And for the Ravens to get to where they want to go, like, I just don't see it this year. But, you know, maybe they can put some things together in the second half of the season that has them feeling good going into 26. Or, like we were talking about at the beginning of the call, man, they could really put together a run in this AFC North, and then we could be laughing about how we were calling about how we were talking about the sky falling in week 6.
100%. And then maybe, and again, Lamar Jackson might just be that great. Like, it's totally possible that he puts the cape on and nothing else matters. But we have to see it in order for that to happen. All right.
And the one thing with that, you know, is like, so, and I keep coming back to this when I think about the Ravens, is that after the Chiefs game, Harbaugh said this, and he's like, we're just not a good team right now. And this was like before the Lamar injury. They were still losing. Like, I don't think the Lamar injury had much to do with this, but they were just not a good team then. They're not right now. Maybe they will be when Lamar comes back.
Oh, and it might even be that they're not a very good team. It's just that they're a team that has Lamar Jackson. Yeah. Like that.
Exactly.
You know, like we'll see. We will see. Chris, what's the next week or two look like for you?
Next week or two. So tonight I finish off my third game in 5 days. We'll be over at Monday Night Football in Landover for Bears at Commanders, and then we'll be monitoring Week 7 remotely, I believe. But it'll be a good time to lock into some trade deadline coverage, and we will be filming our weekly vodcast over on the USA Today Sports YouTube. So please be sure to go check that out and subscribe if that's your thing. And subscribe to our NFL newsletter, 4th and Monday. I'm writing the Sunday edition, so that hits your inbox every Monday.
Excellent.
And we appreciate that.
And usatoday.com is where you find him at Boom, B-O-O-M. Not the way that he spells his name. It's spell out Boom, B-A-C-A on Twitter. That's where you give him a follow. Chris, always appreciate you, man. Thanks for taking the time for us. Let's talk again real soon, all right?
Sounds good. See ya.
That's Chris Bumbaca, USA Today NFL writer, with us here on GCR. John, it's not about winning or losing the game. The team. Oh, wait, we're still going back. Sorry. You aren't winning with Rush either. Give me someone who has wheels.
Keep Mitchell quarterback.
I mean, like, if that guy's available, I just Tyler Huntley ain't it. We know that, and the Ravens know that. Frankly, there's a reason why the Ravens let Tyler Huntley go, because they know they can't win games with him as their quarterback. Now, to say they should be learning that they can't win with Cooper Rush either, 100%. And again, maybe that's I can't imagine them trading for if there's a pick swap move to be made for a backup quarterback. Like if the
that's so far beyond the issues plaguing this team.
I just can't obsess over it.
Yeah.
But I get it. They're not winning with the guys they have. If Lamar Jackson goes down for 2 more games this season, it's over. They don't have a quarterback that can win a game on their NFL roster. They don't have it. hopefully, Lamar Jackson plays every game the rest of the way, and looks like Lamar Jackson. All right. I want to do this before break, so that there'll be a way to transition. We were kind of in an awkward spot last Friday because Stan and I got the news Friday morning that our friend Craig Heist had passed away, and we had intended to try to spend some time during the show on Friday talking about Heisty, but we realized right before the show started that no one had actually announced that Craig had passed away, and you don't ever want to be the one doing that. That's for someone's family to decide how they want it to happen. And Craig's family had worked with the Orioles and some of the teams that he was involved with. He actually was somewhat employed by the Nationals, and so right after our show, you started to see the tributes pour in. And so I felt bad because now here we are 3 days later, and I haven't had the chance. I said a few things on social media. The best way that I could describe Craig Heist, and it's funny because I had a few phone calls with some of our friends, our common friends, like our buddy Patrick Stevens called me on Friday, and I talked to my buddy Aaron Oster out in Vegas, who you saw when I was out there, who used to work at 980 down in D.C., and a few other friends that I spoke to on Friday, and the term that I kept coming back to describe Craig Heist was uncle. Because Heisty was annoying and drove you insane, but loved you more than almost anyone in the world did, and would do anything for you. And that dichotomy was so unique when it came to Craig Heist. Like, it was such a unique dichotomy between the number of times that you would find yourself shaking your head and then the number of times that you found yourself hugging him. He was one of the most special individuals and unique individuals you would ever come across. Ever. Craig did a job that wasn't like other jobs in media, right? Like, he wasn't the beat writer for, like, his role was less defined than a lot of people's roles were. Unfortunately, it's kind of the portrait of radio. He was kind of what was known as a stringer. He would go to events and do live hits on the radio at a time where that was a big deal. Like, he worked for WTOP, and he would call in via the technology that existed at the time and report what was happening at a game that he was covering in every sport, and he did all of it. Everything. He was there for Orioles games, Ravens games, Capitals, Wizards, Commanders, Nationals, Maryland. If it was a big event, when there was a random big event that would be in town, like if the NCAA tournament came to D.C. or a bowl game, whatever it was, he was there for all of them. If he wasn't there, it was only because there was another major event he had to cover on the same day. Like, if you went to an Orioles game and Heist wasn't there, it was only because there was also, like, a Capitals playoff game that night or something like that. For decades. And then he also worked for news wires, like Metro News, where he would file reports that could be aired on affiliate stations throughout. So you might be driving through Sheboygan one day, and then you might hear this, like, and Monday Night Football was last night. Here's Craig Heist with more. Like, that, he had this really difficult role to define. The first time I met Craig Heist was, I was trying to figure out that math. I guess 2005 was probably the first time. No, it had to be before that. I definitely, in hindsight, realized that I met him at Maryland without realizing. My first serious memory of Craig Heist was at an Orioles game that I was covering. It was the first time I ever covered an Orioles game for 1300. And you heard, Heist was the loudest guy in the room. And you heard him the moment you walked in. And in a way, like being in a press box, it was almost like unnerving someone who was that loud when everybody else is very quiet and doing their work. And it wasn't just that he was loud when he was filing his reports. He would then be loud just talking to people. Like, hey, what'd he say? But I remember he also would go out of his way to meet and know everyone that was in. If you walked into that press box, he wanted to know who you were, why you were there, what you did. And at first, when you're first there, that's a little unnerving too, because you're like, dude, what? I belong here. See, I've got a credential. I'm supposed to be here. But that wasn't what he was doing. In that immediate moment, he was getting to know you. And strangely, he was getting to know if you could help him. Because something that we all in this business have in common is that we all ended up making money because Craig Heist gave us opportunities. I used to go cover Preakness, frankly, for the fun of it, for the old radio station. Just because I liked the day. I liked Preakness. I wasn't getting paid anymore. I just volunteered to do it so that we had some coverage of Preakness. And then Heist, who always had baseball or something else to do that day, just said, hey, you go to Preakness every year, right? Could you do my AP and Metro stuff for me? This was very lucrative. I made lots of money. And it wasn't like, I'm going to take it was, Heist just said, hey, man, it's yours. It's yours. Thank you. Appreciate you helping me out. We all, every single one of us that ever worked in radio covering events benefited financially from Craig Heist giving us something. But the personal relationship, it's impossible to explain. I told a couple of stories over the weekend. I was really in my feels thinking about Heist on Friday night. When I went to work, when the radio station went under in 2014, and I just didn't know what I was going to do, it happened to coincide with my wife being pregnant with our older son. And in the short term, I had a lot of friends at CBS Radio in D.C., and I took a job working with 106.7 and 99.1. And Heist, who I had known for a decade at that point, had just left WTOP and had gone to the same radio station. And we both, like, he was doing a lot of the live stuff, but he was also doing updates, and I was doing updates, and, you know, we were both hosting some shows. We were both doing kind of the same thing there. I, when my son was born, found myself really appreciating the solitude. You get so little peace when you have a child. There's so little. It's so stressful. It's a state of emergency at all times. And so if I took a weekend or a night shift at CBS, it was actually great for me because I could kind of just go into that room, the update studio, and kind of be left alone. Like if I was there during the day, there were 100 people there that all come in and talk with me, and I'd talk to them. But if I was there at night or on the weekend, I could just sort of do my own thing. And while, yes, I had to then broadcast, there was still a lot of solitude involved with that at a time where there was very little solitude in my life. And Heisty inevitably would break that solitude for me. Inevitably, like every time, I don't know how it worked out, he would see that I was working, and he would be out covering a game or something, and then would just choose to come by the station afterwards. And would sit in that room with me where I was trying to have my solitude. And we just talk about having a kid, about our frustrations with the business, about things that were going wrong, and somehow it would turn into like 20. It would go from 20 minutes to 3 hours to my entire shift. Heist would just sit there with me, and we just talk. And I loved it. I thought I wanted the solitude. As it turns out, I was grateful for the company. And he remembered everything. He remembered everything. He remembered the names of your kids, the names of your wife, the names of the people that you worked with somewhere. How's everything going up there? How's Kyle Ottenheimer doing? He remembered everything. It was unreal how he remembered everything. When my first son was born, I had to pick up a Comrex from him. He said he wanted me to cover a shift for him. And I was like, well, I can't make it down to D.C. He said, okay, but I've got the technology. You can do it from home. You just got to meet me at the ballpark to pick it up. I said, no problem, because my kid had just been born. I just didn't have time. I was dealing with that. He was like, don't worry about it. So I drive with my kid to the ballpark. Heisty, like this is right before the game's starting. He comes down to the park. Like I pull up very illegally into an alley where like he had already gone out of his way to tell. He also knew everyone at every stadium. And Heisty said to one of the security guards, hey, my friend's coming here with his son. I need you to let him pull up to the curb so I can come down. And I didn't believe. I'm like, Heisty, this is never going to work. Like, you're going to – I don't know what the plan's going to be, but this ain't going to be it. But sure enough, I pull up to the curb right outside one of the gates at Camden Yards, and I swear to God, the security guard says, are you Glenn? Yep. All right. He's on his way. Like, I mean, it's just unreal. And he comes down, and I'm thinking, I got to get out of here before I got to drive away. Nope. Heisty comes down with a Comrex, chats with me for 5 minutes, then realizes my son's awake because he had been asleep when I pulled up, realized my son had woke up, hops in the back seat of my wife's car to hang out with my son. I had not known Clinton. I think a lot of people know Clinton Yates from ESPN. He now does an ESPN radio show every day. Clinton Yates used to work at WTOP. Clinton Yates told a story over the weekend of a time he brought his baby brother, Clinton, when it was in his early 20s, his brother was like 10 or something, 9, something like that, to a Nationals game. And the Nationals said you could bring him into the press box. And Heisty went over, took his brother, and brought him and had him sit with him and taught him about what it was that he was doing and taught him about every person in the press box. Here's what this person does. Here's why this is important. Here, I'm going to have you come meet the so-and-so. And reading Clinton Yates' thread literally made me cry because Clinton Yates said, and at the end of the night, my brother, who had never cared about baseball, turned to me and said, I think I like baseball now. And that was Heisty. And he drove you insane. Nuts. Because he was on top of you from the moment he saw you. And sometimes you just wanted to get your work done, man. You just wanted to get your work done and get out of there. And he wouldn't allow that. He wanted to talk because he was always the first guy there and the last guy out. And so you ended up being the last guy out with him. And yeah, he had opinions that were outlandish. And you roll your eyes at a lot of them. But that's why he was our uncle. So does your uncle. And yet your uncle made everything that you own. Like, made it for you. And would do anything in the world for you. Andrew Stecker wrote a really nice tribute to Heist last Friday on his social and brought up how one of the things that it's missed is how good Heist was at his job. And it was part of the reason why he was able to do all these things. He was so good at what he did. He could file a report. He didn't have to write it out. He knew exactly how to file a report. Everybody else is going through 3 scripts. He's just hit record and go. A lot of you might remember Heist was, for a while, Stan's co-host on the Bat Around. And that was the damnedest thing, too, because then, and he only kind of loosely worked here, but he would just pop over. When we were in Hamden, Kyle and I might be doing the show one day, and here's Heist. Just wandering in. Hey, buddy, what's going on? I don't know where to be. Game, don't have to be at the ballpark until 4, so I just figured I'd come over here and bother you. All right, man, do a show. By all means. And sometimes if he, like, Stan would miss his show, he'd say, I'm going to do the show solo on Saturday. You want to come do it with me? And there was something about hanging out with Yeah. All right, buddy, I'll be there. You got it. I'll come hang out with you. And it was fun. And he would drive you nuts, and he would have opinions that you would vehemently disagree with. But you still like being around him. Every single... I told all these stories, my stories about Heist, and then I said, and I'm not sure I was one of his 200 closest friends. Because go check. Everyone has their own stories from across the spectrum. Heist was a rigid conservative. And yet, one of the first people that I heard from was the lesbian producer of the Bat-Around who loved him. Because that was Heist. Even if you disagreed with him, he loved you and made sure to know it. And I wish we could have more of that. That it's okay that we disagree about things. And we can still love each other. And he was an epitome of that. He was a crank. He was the definition of the word crank. And was the most lovable human. Another one of our former producers here named Bonsa told a story that I didn't know about this weekend where he got a ticket on the way into doing the Bat-Around one morning, and Heist just went ahead and paid it for him. He was just telling the story. God. Got a ticket on the way in. And Heist busted his balls about it. And then, when the show ended, said, how much was the ticket? I got you. I almost never called him Craig. Almost never. We always called him Heist or Heisty or Heistar. Or almost never called him Craig. I can't tell you how much I love that guy. And I appreciated some of the things like Patrick Stevens said. He was kind of what made a baseball. Like, there's something difficult about covering baseball every day. Every day, if you're on a baseball beat, you got to come up with some new angle every day. And we all know the games don't all matter. Some of them are just the game that's being played that day. But, man, there was something about Craig Heist. There was something that made him fit so well, in particular in a baseball in all the press boxes, but in particular in a baseball press box. Patrick said, trying to fully capture and describe longtime D.C. Baltimore radio reporter Craig Heist to someone who never spent time in a press box is not an easy task. Except for one thing, there was never, ever any doubt where Craig stood on anything. The man loved baseball and telling Earl Weaver stories amid his many, many gigs. He disliked soccer. Half of his identity. He disliked soccer. Anytime was a good time to ask if he was looking forward to whatever national team game or European club exhibition was coming to town, then basking in the inevitable rant. Oh, that is so true. You wanted to get Heist going? Ask him if he had to cover like the FC Barcelona AS Roma match. The man did not care for soccer. He very pointedly detested Maryland's traditional nemesis in men's basketball and football, traditional being from a 1980s, 1990s lens, and he was never afraid to share an opinion, which makes me think he was quite pleased with the last two Saturdays. Yeah, he hated Penn State. Hated Penn State. Hated them. And never let it go. I mean, like, it was some of the greatest joy he had in life. The way that, like, some of us celebrate, like Duke losing a basketball game, and he did that too, for what it's worth. When Penn State lost a football game, was his personal Super Bowl. Mainly, though, he was an unforgettable character perfectly suited for a press box, and especially a baseball press box. There's a case that the defining trait of baseball is its everydayness, and Craig was definitely an everyday sort of guy. He embraced that everyday part of it, that just coming to work, and an appreciation for coming to work. He loved that he had the work. Some of us have to be reminded that, right? Like, every now and then I do the wacky bit where somebody's like, it must be tough having to talk about the Ravens this week. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm not digging ditches, right? Like, I'm not doing that. He loved that his job was going to games every day and getting to know people. A lot of people have shared, Craig was famously very close with Mike Messina, who was not close with anybody. Like, Mike, you don't hear Mike Messina doing interviews. But he and Craig were very close. And part of it stems from this kind of fun story where Craig would, for some reason, always get the first question in with Mike after a game. And he would, like, ramble. He would go on, like, a diatribe. Because Mike was prickly. And so you were trying to, like, it always was like he was trying to find the question as he was describing. And Mike would, like, famously say, Craig, that's not a question. But they had this great relationship. And Craig loved getting to know all of these guys. He loved telling you. Rafael Palmeiro called into the bat-around one day. A guy who presumably does not like anyone. Not that it's his own fault. Just called into the bat-around one day. Because of how he cared about Craig. He loved having those relationships. He loved the everyday part of this, that a lot of us that do this, it becomes very mundane and almost tedious. He loved it. I mean, it wouldn't always, sometimes he would be struggling with, oh my God, the legendary. If he was struggling with the internet or technology in any way, my God. This is why, again, I keep coming back to Uncle. Like, it would be the most entertaining thing you'd see all night. Somebody could hit 3 grand slams in a game, and it wouldn't be as entertaining as Craig Heist struggling with a computer. It's joyful. He had a Dave Ginsburg impression that gave me joy. Dave had a Craig Heist impression. Sometimes I forgot where the two, like it felt like I was watching Gins do an impression of Heist doing Gins. Like it was, the two of them sort of got lost in each other. Kenwood alum, associated so much with D.C., but from here, started his career on the Eastern Shore working with Pete Medhurst, and boy, has that hit me very hard over the last couple of days, because those are two guys that gave me opportunities and helped me in ways that I'll never be able to explain and made me better. And losing both of them in the same year is unfathomable. We all loved Craig Heist. The surliest of us loved Craig Heist. The youngest of us loved Craig Heist. The number of stories of people that I didn't even know that had worked in this business, like that people posting, like, I interned at this place one time, and this is what Craig Heist did for me. People that went on, got out of the business quickly and found other things to do. The number of people that would come back to town and go out of their way to take a picture with Heisty, I thought that blew my mind too. People who had worked here for, a short time, but that's the impact that he had on them. Men, women, across the spectrum, everyone. Again, unique is the word that I keep coming back to, because there was truly almost no one like him in this business. I'm so thankful for everything that Craig Heist did for me. I'm so thankful that I was able to be close with the man. I am grateful. I love him. And it is a devastating loss to all of us in this community. I mean, devastating that Heisty's gone. We'll come back in and we'll wrap things up for a Monday edition of the program.
The weather's getting cooler, so when you and your family are picking out a place to dine, be it lunch or dinner, let's make it nice and easy. Now, with 2 great locations, the Costas Inn remains your #1 destination. Whether you want to get steamed crabs in the full Costas menu out at the original location at 4100 North Point Boulevard, or sample the complete menu minus the steamed crabs at the new location above the grandstand at the Timonium Racetrack, Costas is your place to go. Check out the website, CostasInn.com, for a look at the menu, and if you want to plan that crab feast, call 410-477-1975. The Costas Inn.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
The latest edition of Press Box is available now. On the cover, Bo Smolko profiles Ravens running back Derrick Henry and how the football legend has proven to be a unicorn at the position with the success that he's found after the age of 30. Also inside, Brandon Schwartzberg looks at Kobe Mayo's push to find rhythm at the big league level. And we mark the start of the college football season by meeting players from all 4 FBS and FCS programs throughout the state. Press Box is available for free at over 500 locations throughout the region, including 60 Royal Farm stores. Or you can read the entire issue online at PressBoxOnline.com, where you can also find great betting advice and the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps.
Game day hits different with Live Casino's Big Plays, Big Pays hot seats. Head to Sports and Social on select Sundays and Mondays in October. We'll draw 10 hot seat winners every hour. When the home team scores, we'll double the prize pool. Plus, we'll give away $50 Sports and Social gift cards with every touchdown. Watch and win at Live Casino. At Arundel Mills, must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Feeling sluggish, unfocused, or not like yourself? It could be low testosterone. At Game Day Men's Health, we specialize in testosterone replacement therapy to help men boost energy, improve mood, and regain confidence. Our treatments, including testosterone cypionate, are safe, natural, and tailored to fit your lifestyle with weekly injections or pellet therapy. Get started today with a free testosterone test and feel the difference. GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Game Day Men's Health, where men reclaim their game.
Contrary to what some people believe, I actually like this guy when he sleeps. Glenn Clark, talking sports.
All right, back in here on GCR. Yeah, you know what, Brian Powell, we have not been able to talk about Navy yet, and I have no doubt that at some point in the next 2 weeks we'll be having Navy's got another bye coming up this week, so it might not be this week, it might be next week, we'll see, but we'll be having somebody from Navy back on the show because, wow, that was a miracle. And again, like
never in doubt.
Yeah, sure. The concerning part about it is the thing that we keep talking about. Like, Temple's good, but there is much better still to come on the schedule. And they are playing with fire. But still, they had no business winning that game. And if you missed it.
Well, if you watched, you realize they have Blake Horvath.
They do have Blake Horvath, and that
whenever
helps.
you have Blake Horvath, you do have
business. They were struggling offensively. They score on the first drive, and then offensively, it was awful for a while. But they fall behind 31-24.
Yeah, it's almost like they feel like they need to fall behind now.
Right.
I don't know.
And then they go down 4th and 1.
With like 40 seconds left.
There's a lot going on here. And it's funny because Brian and I were texting about it. Like, Casey Keeler, the former Delaware coach, Joe Flacco's, the guy that taught Joe Flacco everything he knows.
Or you could.
Maybe the other way around. Who's now the coach at Temple. They had the ball with 1:16 left, and there's some thought there about, like, hey, how hard should you be trying to score? And this is impossible. It's impossible. There's only certain circumstances. If Navy has no timeouts left and you have the ball, 1st and goal, 1:16 remaining in a tie game, then you know exactly what you're doing. You're taking 2 knees, you're getting the ball in the middle of the field, you're lining up to kick a game-winning field goal. But with $1:20 left,
Navy had 1 or 2. Okay.
Like, in a perfect world, you are. I talked about this. There's a parallel to what happened before the half with the Ravens yesterday. The Ravens didn't want to score and then give the Rams 2 timeouts and the ball back with over a minute. Like, this is a weird world that we're living in now, where, like, you run the risk of your score being irrelevant and negated if you give them all of that. But at the same time, you also run the risk of what happened to the Ravens, not scoring. So, your Temple, there's 1:20 left.
You got 15 people in the stands.
Right. They were 26,000, I think is what they...
There's no way.
Calm down.
No way.
The weather wasn't great either.
So?
Calm down.
You're in an NFL stadium.
Settled. Yeah, that is the problem. They're in the wrong size stadium. They should be. I guess the soccer stadium is too small for them, but like they need to have an in between.
I don't know. I think they should probably play.
No, they need to find an in between there. But the point is, what do? Do you try to tell your team, hey, look, don't make it look like you're not trying to score, but like don't go in. Like run the ball down to like the 2, but don't go in. In a perfect world, you're running 2 plays, getting Navy to call both of their timeouts, and then you score on 3rd down. I guess in a perfect world, you then run another play on 3rd down and you score on 4th down. But if you're only kicking the field goal, now you're giving Navy the ball back with 30 seconds left, and all they need is a field goal. So you're in this impossible to determine situation. And if you run 3 offensive plays, you're running a greater risk of fumbling the ball on one of those plays. Remember, the Ravens damn near fumbled the ball in this situation before the half. So what do? Ultimately, if you're Casey Keeler, you decide we're just going to go for the score. And Navy perhaps
slow it up.
Or said we're going to let them go for the score. Navy gets the ball back. And as it turns out, didn't even need all the time they have. In fact, the danger was they almost gave Temple too much time the other way. 4th and 1 midfield, Blake Horvath breaks off a 51-yard touchdown run, hits the hole, and gone. And then, like, all the stuff that happened after that is where it's wild, because Temple still has a timeout remaining at that point. Oh, yeah, this is from ESPN2. This is Blake Horvath, 4th and 1 from the 49-yard line. Hits the hole, gone, touchdown. The Navy's got the chance to tie it up. And I think with 39 seconds left, you assume that's what they're going to do. As Brian Newberry, the head coach at Navy, explained later, he had decided ahead of time, if we score, I'm going for 2 in the win. But even he, because it was with 39 seconds left, was like, I don't know, like that might be a lot. I'm not sure. It's an easy decision to make when, like, the game's going to, whatever happens on this play, this is how the game is ending. But with 39 seconds left, you're running the risk of them getting the ball and they just go try to win anyway. But to the point, that could happen in a tie game too. So they put the offense back out there to run a play. And this is where the brilliance comes in. Because the first 2-point conversion they line up for, they then, out of nowhere, leak everyone out as if they're going to run the swinging gate. And that catches Temple off guard. And so Temple has to call their last timeout. And now you've accomplished 2 goals. You've scored, and Temple doesn't have a timeout to stop the clock to go try to get a game-winning field goal on the other end. So go ahead, kick the extra point. Go to overtime. Wait, they're still going for it? The hell? Who's this coming from? This is from a person.
Yes.
This is from a Twitter account. But we still have to give him credit.
John Clark.
John Clark appears to be NBC Sports in Philadelphia. Shares this video. Call the timeout. Run out of that. Roll out. Blake Horvath going to his right. Lays it out there. Alex Teska catches it. Navy goes up by a point. They would hang on. Temple actually did move the ball fairly well and got one shot at a Hail Mary. I guess they don't have a kicker with a 59-yard leg, so they tried a Hail Mary instead but couldn't get it there, and that's how the game ended. So Navy stays unbeaten, 6-0. Bowl eligible, but that's obviously very low on their list of goals is bowl eligibility. They've got other things they want to do. They get another bye this week, then they'll come out of it with a home game against FAU on the 25th. And then that November gauntlet that we keep talking about at North Texas, at Notre Dame, home for South Florida, at Memphis.
Easy.
Yeah. Easy peasy. Go get them, boys. But, yeah, unbelievable. Just a thrilling scenario from Saturday in Philadelphia. All right. Let's dish out some slaps. Slaps are brought to you today by the print issue of Press Box. Coming later this week, a brand new print issue of Press Box. Great cover story from Don Marcus about new Maryland Athletic Director Jim Smith. The job that he takes on the unique experience he brings to it. Also, college basketball previews, a deep dive on new Maryland coach Buzz Williams. Plus, we meet players from every men's and women's program in the region, all inside the new print issue of Press Box, which will be hitting newsstands later this week. And we're going to be announcing some new locations where you will be finding Press Box moving forward. And you'll want to be checking out PressBoxOnline.com/find because there are going to be some new locations where you'll be finding Press Box. All right, you know the rules. Pick 5 Ravens. Remember, 2 of them must be offensive players. 2 of them must be defensive players. The 5th can be another offensive player, another defensive player, a special teams player, or a coach. Yes.
I was going to do like 4 coaches.
Yeah, I definitely thought about that. There's some people that there are some folks that avoid my wrath this week, not because they deserve to avoid my wrath, but simply because the rules prevent me from giving them my wrath. That's where we're at. My number 5, I think most people would say, hey, it was difficult to come up with a second defensive player. I don't think it was that difficult to come up with this. This isn't like that. Again, I don't think the defense was as good as some of you think that it was. And maybe the grades would say on the whole Malachi Starks had a good day. I don't know. But the Tyler Higbee touchdown, it's really hard to avoid how Malachi Starks gets sucked in and is covering air. Just covering air. And there was a lot of cover and air from a lot of dudes during the course of the day yesterday, but that one in particular stood out to me. Like, you just watch it again, and you're like, bro, what? Like, what were you what? And then after there was nothing he could do about it, he goes scampering after Tyler Higbee as Tyler Higbee walks, stanky legs his way into the end zone. Malachi Starks, there's also a theme when you see who my number 4 is. Just not proving to be impactful. And then on top of that, the Higbee touchdown, he's my number 5.
Yeah, I mean, I felt I am giving slightly more credit to the defense than you are. So I did kind of struggle. I'm not really sure. Wasn't really sure who to go with. So I had to just go with somebody who was, not impactful. So I went with Mike Green as my number 5. I kind of toiled with maybe Kyle Van Noy in there as well, but Green played a lot more, and he had, once again, he's being handed a massive opportunity on a silver platter here with tons of playing time. He played, I think he was playing just about every down after Tavius Robinson went out. And he did nothing. He's not adding anything to the pass rush, obviously. He's not adding anything when he's in coverage. He's not impacting the game any way whatsoever. So Mike Green, he's still just a rookie, but he comes in as my number 5 defensively.
I'll tell you why Mike Green is number 4 on this list. I pulled this from Next Gen Stats yesterday. They have a stat. The NFL's Next Gen Stats, their particular analytic that they use for edge rushers is average separation from quarterback. It's what they do on plays where you are specifically rushing the passer. How far away are you from the quarterback whatever happens? Incomplete pass. When he gets rid of the ball or gets sacked by someone else, goes down, whatever he does, how far away are you? Yeah, how far away are you from the quarterback? The league average is 4.57 yards of separation.
Okay.
For what it's worth, Jared Verse yesterday was 3.5. So Jared Verse had an exceptional day in getting after the quarterback yesterday. Mike Green was 4.94 yards of separation away from Matt Stafford on play average on plays where he was rushing yesterday. It's not just that he's not making the plays, he's not close. He's not anywhere in the world of providing impact. And is it unfair that it all falls on a second-round pick? Yeah. But until they go get a better option at the trade deadline, it's either going to be that it's going to work with Mike Green or it ain't going to work. It sucks. It sucks that David Ajabo has been a busted pick. Like, there's a lot of things that suck here. But they have to get – I keep always thinking that I'm going to do this, and I'm not going to actually do it. They have to get something from Mike Green moving forward. Probably even if they do acquire an edge rusher, they still have to get something from Mike Green. And it has been a disaster.
You know where I'm going with number 4. Kind of similar to you. I'm just kind of nitpicking on one play, and also, I mean, just lack of an impact overall. Trenton Simpson's my number 4. The Kyron Williams. This is when you drop 9 guys into coverage.
I actively disagree with this one, but only to an extent.
He was the one that was on Kyron Williams. Kyron Williams made a great catch. It was a great throw as well, but he also interfered with him, and it didn't matter. This just kind of that just stuck out like a sore thumb to me.
I would say the interference is the more egregious part because, like, my God,
yeah.
That's just a hell of a play that was actually made. But yes, to say
you couldn't even it's violating the rules of the game, you couldn't stop this.
It's also troublesome. Like Trenton Simpson is not made for this. Like, he's not made for this.
Well,
I don't know what he's made for.
So,
but on the whole, I actually think he had a better day. I think he had a day that was good enough that.
I mean, they gave him. He couldn't even finish his sack when they gave him a free pass right at Stafford. He needed help from Teddy Buchanan. So, Trenton Simpson's my number 4.
On the whole, Trenton Simpson had a decent day yesterday. He did. He had a decent day.
Unfortunately, PFF agrees with you, but yeah,
right. I mean, he had a good game. Like, that's the reality of it. But, like, I get it. It's not me saying I think Trenton Simpson's great. I think Andrew Voorhees graded out really well yesterday, but I don't think Andrew Voorhees is great. I think he's a part of the problem. Like, these things happen.
Andrew Voorhees was apparently the highest graded offensive player on the Ravens.
Yeah, I mean, who else would it? It's a little bit surprising that he'd be higher than Derrick Henry.
He was 2 points better than Henry.
Yeah, that's a bit surprising. But
Voorhees, Henry, Hopkins.
I'm not suddenly saying, well, they figured out Andrew Voorhees. No, Andrew Voorhees.
Maybe move him to left tackle next time Stanley gets hurt.
Number 3 is Cooper Rush. There's an argument for him being higher, but there's just so many candidates that it's like if he was number 1 on somebody's list, I'd say, yeah, I get it. I mean, he stunk. He was terrible. Cooper Rush is number 3.
Yeah, I'd argue. I wanted to make the argument he'd be higher, but yeah, there were 2 guys I had to put higher. I mean, just gosh, he is not good at quarterback. He doesn't have instincts. The interception was horrendous, even though I guess that technically didn't hurt us. I guess the interception because it was the John Jenkins play the very next play after the interception. But just incompletions on 4th and 3rd down. He's inadequate. It's Cooper Rush is number 3.
Look, so the play calling. We can talk about the play calling
sure.
forever, and Todd Monken's going to avoid being on the list, but only because I decided to go in a different way, a more unique way on this one. Play calling is insane in some of these situations, but yeah, Cooper Rush stinks too. The reason why Todd Monken avoids the wrath is because I've decided to put George Warhop on the list this week. The penalties it's asinine. It's asinine. You had what you wanted yesterday. You were running the ball at will. The blueprint for how were you going to pull this off, you were getting the part of it that you needed to get, which was dominating on the ground with Derrick Henry. Only for penalties to make it irrelevant. Even when it's good, it's bad. Again, you don't want to fire him, don't fire him. Bring in a co-offensive line coach, something. But it's awful. It's wretched. And I'm letting George Warhop speak for it because I've let some other guys have a turn to speak. And so I'm letting George Warhop speak this time. He's number 2.
I mean, yeah, the penalties were terrible. I couldn't pinpoint, I guess, just on Warhop. I mean, they rushed for 180 yards, and that was better than they had looked, since week 1.
It didn't matter. They rushed for 180 yards, and it didn't matter.
Well, that's because they had
somehow more damning.
They had fallacies elsewhere, and
not just no. They had fallacies on the offensive line. I believe it was 5 offensive line.
There were 5 offensive line penalties.
It's insane. Like it's how.
And they also had several turnovers, and Zay Flowers had 2 of them. Zay Flowers comes in as my number 2. I mean, yeah, I imagine where he is at on your list, but he's, I mean, it's just backbreakers. Two fumbles is.
This is a weird bit where we do this with players where we're like, if we like them, we don't want to forever. And it's not just because I know who your number 1 is. It's lots of people. Like, because we might own somebody's jersey, we don't want to be as mad at them. With all due respect, for everything that
he's gonna be part of the. It's similar to the Henry. He's got to be part of the solution here.
He absolutely does, absolutely does. But it doesn't absolve what happened yesterday. The biggest story is for everything that went wrong. Zay Flowers gave the ball away twice. We can obsess over all of it. I got problems with the play calling. And what actually happened on the field? Zay Flowers gave the ball away 2 times. That's from a wide receiver. How many times did he touch the ball yesterday, Griffin?
I think he did have 5 catches or something.
Plus the carry.
Oh yeah, plus the carry. So yeah, 7.
1/3 of the times he touched the ball, he gave it away.
Yeah.
There's no debate about who number 1 is. And it sucks because we love Zay Flowers. And you're right, Zay Flowers is a big part of the solution. And sometimes when you chastise someone, you're not saying they've got to go. What you're saying is this can't happen ever. And you have to own it. There is one story yesterday. Zay Flowers is number 1 with a bullet. And it's tough. We don't want to do it because we like Zay Flowers. And you want to have more good football players, and he's a good football player. And you think that overall he's better at his job than most people seem to think that John Harbaugh is at the moment, or Todd Monken or whoever. But it doesn't change that yesterday, Zay Flowers, and you also want to give excuse, well, yeah, but he's trying to make a play. No. None of this required that.
I mean, I guess to your point, yeah, it's 1st and 20, and why are they backed up 10 yards? Because of the offensive line.
Penalties and turnovers really are the story of what happened yesterday. As much as we quarrel with the play call. And by the way, I didn't get to put any of the offensive linemen on because I had to put Zay Flowers and Cooper Rush on, and I decided to go with the coach. That's a gift. We don't like – it's easier to fire the people whose jerseys we don't own than the people whose jerseys we do own. And nobody's suggesting that they should fire Zay Flowers. But our wrath goes to other places because it's easier to do that. We didn't go hang out at Jimmy's with Zay Flowers or with George Warhop one night. But we did with Zay Flowers, and it means something. And my wife's got an autographed Zay Flowers jersey, and we gave away 20 Zay Flowers autographed pictures last year. And so, I get it. We don't want to do this. We want to make excuses. But yesterday, there's no excuse for it. None. 0. That can never happen. Ever. Ever. To put the ball on the ground twice. Zay Flowers, number 1.
What can't happen is you can't come out of a timeout and have your quarterback throw the ball into the stands on 4th down. And what can't happen is you can't call a timeout and you leave Puka Nacua wide open in the middle of the field. And you can't have You can't have 5 offensive line penalties. You can't be jumping off sides on defense. And you can't have 38 minutes of possession time and score 3 points. That's a game they should have won. When you're controlling the ball for 38 minutes and you run for 180 yards.
Should have won's the wrong way of saying. Could have won, absolutely.
They should have covered.
Absolutely could have won. Should have covered? I don't know if I go with should have covered.
They should have covered.
They could have won yesterday's game.
Although what would have been great is they do score at the end, and then they're like, well, we're going for 2 now,
Right. They still would have. Yeah,
and then they don't cover.
No, they probably would have missed it. And then they would have lost by 8.
That's what I mean. That's what would have happened. So maybe you're right. Maybe I never was on the right side. John Harbaugh's my number 1 because it's a coaching issue. Every single department needs to look in the mirror and figure out what the hell is happening. Why we have so many penalties on the offensive line. Why we are coming out of timeouts and our quarterback is throwing the ball away. Why we are coming out of timeouts and the best player on the opposing team is wide open in the middle of the field. It's so John Harbaugh. And again, I'm not calling for his job either right now in Week 6 going into Week 7, but something needs to change, and I don't know what it is. I sound like Tyus Bowser last night. Just something's got to change. I'm not sure what it is. Is it player personnel? Is it coaching personnel? Is it the head coach? I don't think that is the answer, but John Harbaugh's my number 1.
I keep saying this for everybody that wants it to be. You're going to get that at some point. It's just not today.
I don't really want that because I want them to start winning football games.
Yeah, of course. So, this is you'd prefer if they fix it and they turn around and they win. 100%. But everybody whose existence is, if the team loses, either the coach gets fired or I'm angry. You get what. There's this revisionist, well, you see, the Orioles had to fire Brandon. No, they didn't. They did not have to fire Brandon Hyde when they did. They didn't. And I'm telling you right now, in hindsight, mistake. The only way that it was justifiable.
In real time, probably might have been a mistake.
Well, no, it was justifiable if they hired a manager.
Well,
if they said, because we don't want to piss away a season, and we think we're going to have to hire a new manager at the end, and so we're going to hire him right now. It made zero sense to sign up for 60% of your season under an interim manager, lame duck interim manager.
Yeah, that's what the Pirates do. That's why even though the Pirates hired their guy.
They did.
But
They did hire their guy.
that's what the Rockies do.
Which makes it weirder.
Yeah.
Like this thing, we just have this bloodthirst. Nothing gets better. We know that. We have an unending amount of evidence that says that when you do this, it's because it's over. And you're just wasting the rest of the year. So at some point, undoubtedly, as I said, if they lose the Bears with Lamar Jackson after the bye, I'll start having a conversation with you. I mean, it won't really be the week, but you'll be within the week of this being reality for John Harbaugh. It's just not today because you don't sign up for interim coaches ever.
He would be safe because they play Thursday night that week. So
they wouldn't.
Yeah, there's no chance. That'd be something. That'd be something.
Trying to think of. I mean, I guess they would.
How they could possibly have that play out? You play on Sunday, 3 days later.
I mean, maybe it's. I don't know.
Nah, there's no way that's happened. There's no way.
Anyway, there you go. Those are slaps to the helmet. We'll get them up at GlennClarkRadio.com. We've done another 2-hour show, which we are not supposed to be doing. Oh, Mike Schilt has retired. How about that? Mike Schilt. Add San Diego to the list of managerial openings.
See, Brandon Hyde's getting some interest from San Francisco, apparently.
Oh?
Yeah.
It's odd. It's an odd choice, isn't it?
There's something about, I don't know if there was a connection with Posey, but Posey likes him.
Okay.
I'm sure, but I can't
Brandon
remember
Hyde
what.
Doesn't have any. He was obviously with Chicago for. Was Brandon Hyde ever in? I'm not familiar with that. I mean, there's so many. There's only so many managers available. Yeah, the Marlins and the
John Shea of the San Francisco Standard, former Orioles manager Brandon Hyde spoke this week with President of Baseball Operations Buster Posey.
I mean, this is the other thing. Brandon Hyde is just not that far removed from being manager of the year.
Yeah.
Like, Brandon Hyde is not Tony Mansolino. He is someone who actually climbed the mountain and got over the hump. And I do think that teams recognize that. They need to know about what went wrong. They want those answers. But to pretend like that stuff didn't happen, we do for our own edification. Again, because we're just pissed off. And this isn't me requiem for Brandon Hyde. I'm not trying to be a Brandon Hyde truther. It's that the timing was wrong. That's just doing it for the sake of doing it. It's just bloodthirsty. Nothing good comes. It doesn't happen that way. Let's wrap up. What a fun day this has been.
He's no connection with Posey. He's from the Bay Area, though.
Oh, that's right.
Hyde is.
That is
Or he's from Santa Rosa, California.
3 o'clock today, so in just a couple hours, Stan the Fan, Ross Grimsley, Luke Jackson will be talking baseball with you. Facebook.com/PressBoxSports. If you miss it live, YouTube.com/PressBoxOnline, PressBoxOnline.com/video. As always, Stan Show is brought to you by the Costas Inn and the all-new Costas Inn, now open in Timonium. What you got for tidbit?
Shoot, I guess I should go quick, huh?
Yeah, we gotta wrap.
Let's do. So Travis Hunter starting to get more and more run. First NFL player with 4 receptions and multiple tackles on the defensive side of things in a single game since 1996, when, of course, Deion Sanders did it. October of 96. Had both 4 catches, at least 4 catches, and then multiple tackles on the defensive side of things. So Travis Hunter starting to get more and more settled in with the Jags, going both ways. Of course, didn't help him win, though.
No.
Malik Washington went over 200 yards passing for the 6th consecutive game and to start his career. He is just the 4th quarterback to do that, Power Conference true freshman quarterback to do that in his first 6 career games. He joins NC State's quarterback in the year 2000.
Was that Phil?
That was Phillip Rivers. And then Texas quarterback in 2017. suffered a loss to the Maryland Terrapins.
I don't even remember.
Sam Ellinger.
Oh, Ellinger.
Yeah. And now and I'm with Cal this year. Who's Cal's quarterback this year? I just want to know if you can say his name.
I don't know.
Jaren Keave Songa Politele.
Oh, yeah, Jaren. Yeah,
JKS.
Sure.
JKS.
Yeah.
You know JKS. Also 200 yards in each of his first 6 games. So that's the list that Malik joins.
Good for them. It'd be nice if they throw for a few more yards in the fourth quarter. The shame, too, is that Maryland actually got a little bit of the run game going on.
Yeah, they know that's
Saturday.
First time moving the ball on the ground. Do you want me to save the other one?
Yeah, why don't we do that?
All right.
Why don't we do that? Tubular is brought to you by Live Casino and Hotel. You got a bye week this week. Don't just go hang out inside Sports and Social at Live Casino and Hotel. It's gonna be far more pleasant. Just trust me on that. Far more pleasant watching the games there. Go do that this Sunday. Every big fight night, every big event, the best place to be is Sports and Social. Here's what's coming up, totally tubular-wise. A lot, by the way. Baseball, Game 2 of the ALCS on Fox and FS1 at 5 o'clock. Logan Gilbert and Trey Savage, the pitching matchup for what turns into damn near a must-win game for the Blue Jays.
The old 2 p.m. Pacific start, yeah.
But the game's in Toronto.
Yeah, I know.
So it's not really. It's a 5 o'clock start. I mean, people that are watching
take off work, maybe everyone in Seattle.
Watching it too. Then Game 1 in the NLCS, Dodgers Brewers tonight at 8:08 on TBS and True TV. Blake Snell goes to the Dodgers. Have the Brewers announced yet?
I don't know.
They were still taking their sweet ass time on who was going to pitch. It is still TBD for the Brewers, so we'll see.
There's got to be a. Who do we think?
Come up with an answer.
Yeah.
Anyway. Then Monday Night Football tonight, it's that doubleheader that isn't a doubleheader again. ESPN Bills Falcons 7:15, then ABC for Bears Commanders at 8:15. Why they do it that way? Next week they're doing an actual doubleheader. I don't understand what the advantage.
7 and 10 or like.
I don't know why this exists.
I would expect Quinn Priester or Jose Quintana to be the bulk guy, whoever it is. Yeah.
And everything else you can find at glennclarkradio.com. Anything non-sports wise?
Yeah, it's premiere night on season premiere night on CBS. So big ones, The Neighborhood, FBI, Watson. Of course, though, the series premiere of DMV, which is like a DMV. I don't want to call it Office style. I don't know how. Tim Meadows is in it, so it looks interesting.
Tim Meadows,
but it's CBS. It's just CBS network television. So yeah. There's an Ozzy Osbourne.
I don't know the last time I was even willing to look at a CBS sitcom. Even look.
Young Sheldon.
No,
is that not CBS? Or
it is. Everybody raved that How I Met Your Mother was definitely worth watching. I have never spent any time with it. Maybe it's something I will watch at some point, but nah, I'm good. I attempted to watch episodes of The Big Bang Theory.
I Love Lucy. There you go.
That might be the last one. I attempted because it was so wildly popular. I was like, am I missing something? I attempted to watch it. It stunk. It was just the antithesis.
Everybody Loves Raymond. That was CBS.
Yeah,
King of Queens was CBS.
Yeah, that was bad. That was
what do you
mean?
King of Queens was good.
No, it was not.
No, King of Queens was great. That might be Lucy. King of Queens.
Somebody suggested that I should give Everybody Loves Raymond a shot and see if maybe it was actually better than I realized it was. CBS.
Sure it was then. There's an Ozzy Osbourne thing on Peacock if anyone's into that.
All right, that's it.
Yes.
Thanks today to Chris Bumbaca, and we'll get that up in the greatest hits section of the
Bill Murray and Kat Dennings will be on
tab
Kimmel.
at glennclarkradio.com. Tomorrow on the program, the regular Tuesday stuff, Joe Serpico, Mike Sando from The Athletics going to join us tomorrow. Continue to try to chart a path forward. Thanks to everybody at PressBox, all of our great sponsors and partners, including Live Casino and Hotel, Game Day Men's Health, CountySports.zone, your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com, the Costas Inn, Nick's Fish House, 1-800-GAMBLER, help my gambling problem.
I guess I should say there's a show on CW, since we're talking about I Love Lucy, called TV We Love, which is just like this weird 8-part docu-series that's just going to dive into old TV shows. The first one is tonight, and I Love Lucy is the first one. So that's on the CW. If anyone
do we have a?
Really
I might have you produce a Rita and Glenn episode this week. Is there a doc that we haven't?
A doc.
Suggested if we did book club this week.
There was a couple this week, but they might not be coming out until later in the week.
All right. Let's see if there's something that came out recently that we should have watched.
Okay.
All right.
Just open up some app and we'll see.
Thanks to Griffin at Griffin_Bass. Follow us Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Glenn Clark Radio. Have a great Monday evening. Are we rooting for anybody tonight?
No. Are we rooting for Anthony Santander or just?
I'm in a weird one of that one.
Yeah.
Cito still sucks, so I am anti-Blue Jays.
Who still sucks? Who's
Cito Gaston. F him forever.
Oh, okay.
Eternal.
What about Kevin Gausman?
I'm indifferent towards Kevin Gausman.
Okay. But he liked those donuts. Remember he liked donuts?
Great. I have actual emotions for Anthony Santander, so if it works out that way, I'll be very happy for him. But I'm not. I can't. It doesn't overcome. Cito Gaston left Mike Messina in the effing bullpen. He can forever. He will never be forgiven. Duke sucks.